You know her from the Dragons' Den. Arlene Dickinson is no stranger to reinvention. She has remade herself, her career, and her businesses more times than she can probably count.
Yes, in her new book, Reinvention, Changing Your Life, Your Career, Your Future, she will teach you how to do the same, because she did. Good morning. So good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And I love this by Chris Hadfield. If you want to make something more of yourself, your company, or your life, read this book. Big praise coming from him, one who has done and seen a lot.
That's everything. He's
Right?
seen the world, literally.
So talk to us about the catalyst for this book. You do talk about the fact that everything was going well until it wasn't.
Right.
Okay.
Everything was going great, had run my business for many years, and then the flood happened. The flood that happened in southern Alberta. And it almost destroyed my business, Venture Communications, at the time. And it was just devastating. It was one of those events that just, like, literally rocked my world.
And people look and they think, well, you're successful, but you took big chances back then. You ran the risk of losing everything.
Yes.
And why did you do that?
Because I felt a real obligation. I have a lot of people that work for me. I had a lot of clients. I felt like I'd had this company for so many years, and it deserved a better ending, for me in terms of my relationship with the company. So it was a real heartfelt kind of moment where I thought, should I just shut it down? Other ways to make money. I was making money in many other ways. This wasn't my livelihood, but it was so critical to me because it was so part of me. It was the company that had basically taken me there, and I owed it something.
And as a Dragon, we've seen you cultivate so many entrepreneurs and help their businesses grow, and you put your own advice to practice. So let's talk about, you talk about the 4 C's.
Right.
So the first one, counterintuitive.
Right.
Okay.
So in business, we know that we need to look backwards in order to look forwards, right? But people don't like doing that. I mean, it's scary for us to look back and think that, hey, maybe we played a role in getting ourselves here. We're in a rut. We don't know what we're doing. We're not happy anymore. But we don't want to really look back at ourselves. So it's counterintuitive. But you have to go back in order to move forward.
Okay, that makes
sense.
sense.
Be honest about it, too. That is so important, isn't it?
Yes, and say, yeah, you know what, I played a part of this. And then the next one is currency. Like, what is it you're really good at? Like, taking assessment of the currency you have. And then the next one is core purpose. I think people talk a lot about, you have to have passion for what you do. I think it's all about finding purpose for what you do. If you have purpose in life, you will find passion through that. And then finally, it's about context. What's the world you live in, and what can you do with the things that you have and the experiences that you've had, and turn it into something that's going to take you to where you want to go.
What was it like writing this book? Because you're really honest about it, about yourself, about having to reinvent yourself, and looking at your flaws, mistakes you've made. What was it like when you saw it down on paper?
Well, I wrote the book twice. The first time I wrote it, and I think I did what most people try to do. Sometimes you want to kind of gloss over the lessons, and then I started to really think about it when I kind of read it again and thought, no, this isn't quite exactly what I want to say. I have to be more vulnerable than I'm being. And so going back and just admitting all the things I'd done wrong was cathartic for me, I got to tell you. Like, going back and saying, I really messed this up. And this was really hard, and doing that changed everything for me. It made my life a lot better.
And so many of us really relate to you because you were always so refreshingly honest. Follow her on Twitter if you don't already. Everything always goes viral for a reason. You're very wise. Let's reach out and rather read Cynthia, who wrote in. She says this: Arlene, realizing at 47 I'm stuck in a rut, working hard to make other people successful. Any tips on how to break this cycle at my age? You say age isn't a number to reinvent. Any time you're ready to change, do it.
I was 57 when I reinvented, myself, and I think you can reinvent at any time. It has nothing to do with age. It has to do with what you believe you want to do with your life. Yeah. And you can just resign yourself and say, oh, gee, I'm older, I can't possibly change anything. That's just such a defeatist attitude. I would say to her, go out and do it. Age is nothing.
How do you break through those attitudes, though? Like, how do you change those attitudes?
Well, I think it's part of, it is the 4 C's. There is a formula to this. It is hard work. It's not like you get up and say, oh, I'm gonna rule the world, and the next day you are ruling the world. You have to really put the effort into it. You have to think about it. You have to focus on it. You have to do something with it. And I always think saying it out loud makes a big difference.
Right.
You commit to it at that
point.
Right. Can we sneak into one more?
Yeah, one more real
tweet?
quick. This one's from Lift Her Up Hockey. What advice do you have for a 16-year-old girl who wants a future as an entrepreneur?
Oh, go dream as big as you possibly can dream and go do it. I mean, at 16, I just think the world is everything at 16, right? You have so much opportunity. So I would say, hey, get up and tell yourself you can, and don't let anybody tell you you can't.
The fact that she's writing you at 16, I mean, she's
awesome.
going to be good. She's okay, right?
Yeah.
Pick it up, Reinvention, in bookstores now, and we need that coffee table book of inspirational quotes because you're awesome.
That's coming next.
That's
right?
coming next. We'll be back with more BT right after this.